Salutations, my patrons. It is Maddie here today with a Patreon exclusive video. This time around I want to talk about physical versus digital in the video game atmosphere. I was originally going to do a vlog, but I got another sty and it's so bad, so I figured let's have a extended gaming discussion. Now I wanted to talk about this because I was looking at my gaming collection and I realized I have so many physical copies and I've always preferred that. Why exactly is that? Because I know some people have grown up like me with physical copies for their games and then they transfer to the digital atmosphere where they go, okay, I'm more fine with just downloading it from my house and not going out to GameStop or Walmart or wherever you want to get your games. For me personally, I prefer physical for one specific reason, because that game cannot die now. We look at so many games that go into the digital area of gaming, and then because of licensing, because something happens with the game itself, especially online only games and the servers shut down, these games end up feeling temporary. Now I'm not saying I'm going to buy a game with the idea of playing it for 10 years straight, but I look at, for example, N64 games. I look at my PS2 collection and how I go back and play those from time to time when I have a hankering. If you're in the digital area of gaming, sometimes that simply is not possible. Don't get me wrong, digital gaming comes with its obvious perks, like I mentioned earlier, not having to leave your house and you can just download a game, having a game preloaded so the second midnight strikes you can play that game you've been hotly anticipating. Stuff along those lines are why digital gaming is excellent, but why when people say physical is dying out, which is not true, more so that digital is simply rising, but physical will always have a place. I look at, for example, TMNT Reshelled. That's a title that I absolutely adored. It was something I never thought would happen, but Ubisoft actually remade my favorite Ninja Turtles game, and because they lost the license to the Ninja Turtles, you can't go on the Xbox store and download it. You can't do anything with the game unless you already have it downloaded. So quite honestly, the only reason I still have my Xbox 360 set up is because of that game. I have no other reason to go back to the 360 era except for that game. It's still downloaded on my hard drive, and God forbid my hard drive ever corrupts on my 360, but that's the one reason when I was trying to buy the brand new consoles coming out, I didn't trade in my 360. I kept my PS3 because I love collecting trophies, of course, but I didn't trade in my 360 because I wanted to have Ninja Turtles. That's how much weight I feel licensing and the digital stuff has on games, where I knew there was no other way I was going to actually be able to get this game. There's no way to re-download it, there's no way to actually acquire it. Also, as a person who really enjoys handheld gaming, whether it's the Nintendo Switch or the PS Vita, digital just simply is not the way to go because the download speeds on them, even when you're in a close proximity with your router, it's still really slow download speed. So for me, it's much easier just to take 15-20 minutes out of my day, drive to the store and come back, especially because once you're there, you just pop the game in, unless you're an Xbox One user. If you're an Xbox One user, I would definitely consider the digital route, only because of how long games take to install, whether they are physical or digital. All you're doing is really inconveniencing yourself because you're adding time, where with the PS4, you slide in a disc, boom, it's good to go. But with Xbox One, totally different ballgame, and I can completely understand if someone took the digital route there. But for me, I've always been a physical person. I've always enjoyed collecting, and so I think it's just ingrained in my DNA. But with all of that said, I can understand why people like digital. I just think a lot of perks are offered for physical in the long term. That's why when people get all hyped up on these multiplayer only titles, I'm like, these games last about as long as their player base, and then once the servers start to die off, they shut it down within the next 5 years. It's always happened. And so for me, I just like having it physical and having these games with maybe a single player focus, not to get off track here, because that means we can always return to those adventures that we just have pop in our mind and go, I want to go back there, and you slide in a disc and it's as easy as that. Anyway, I'm looking forward to hearing your thoughts in the Discord, on the Patreon post, etc. So fire away. Other than that, I'll catch you guys in next week's Patreon exclusive video. Stay sexy, stay active. I love you all. Peace.